I'm Alyssa, and today I'm sharing with you my favorite things out of the month of June. If you're new to my channel and don't know about my favorites, that's where I cover all the movies, TV shows, video games, etc. that I've loved in the past month. And I have quite a plethora of things to talk about today, so we'll just get going without me jibber-jabbering all over the place. Now, first up for the movies, the first movie that I fell head over heels in love with in June was Schindler's List. I know most people have already seen this film, but it's truly a masterpiece. I love the black and white aesthetic. I think Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes are fantastic in their roles. It's devastating. I think it deserves the title of one of the greatest films of all time that this piece of cinema has been bestowed upon. If you haven't seen it, watch it, even though it is super devastating. It is an essential watch. The next film up is Sicario. This is actually my second time watching it. The first time I watched it, I was bored to tears. This time I loved it. I loved Emily Blunt as the lead character and how she's trying to come to terms with her new role, trying to bring down drug cartels, and how she deals with both Josh Brolin's character, Matt Graver, and Benicio del Toro's character, Alejandro. I think it's just a very fascinating film. Denis Villeneuve is amazing as always with his directing. Taylor Sheridan's script is spot on, and I just freaking adore Sicario on the second viewing. The next movie I loved was Hereditary. I know this is a very divisive film, but this scared the shit out of me. The themes it covers in it are what scare me to death in horror films, and I think it's very well done. I love the way Ari Aster directed this film. It's very stylish. It is heavy on imagery, and you kind of have to look beneath the imagery to get at what Ari Aster is saying. The performances, especially from Toni Collette, are top-notch, and the effects work is great. I loved everything about this film. The next one up is a film that a lot of people seem to not like, but I loved, and that is Euphoria. This stars Alicia Vikander and Eva Green as sisters, and they go on this trip to Bond, but when they get there, Alicia Vikander's character Inez learns that her sister is hiding a secret. I thought it was very well done. I think it handled the topic that it covered really well. The performances were excellent. And I just really enjoyed it, so give it a shot before brushing it off as a mediocre film like a lot of people have been doing. I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it, and Lisa Langsteth as a director is just superb. The next movie up is The Incredibles 2. I loved the first Incredibles, and I waited 14 years for this sequel, and it did not disappoint. I love the story. The visuals are outstanding. I think this was a refreshing take on the superhero genre. And even though it doesn't live up to the heights of the first film, in my personal opinion, I still really loved The Incredibles 2. I also really loved Synecdoche, New York. This is a film that was written and directed by Charlie Kaufman, whom I think is a genius. And it stars Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is absolutely brilliant in this role. He plays a theater director, and you see how his life changes over the course of many years, how his relationships grow and dissolve, and how they change him. And it's just a very fascinating character study. Again, it's got Charlie Kaufman's signature dialogue and quirkiness, which I adore. And I just think this is a masterpiece. Another film I really enjoyed, which hasn't been getting a lot of attention over here in the States, is Journey's End. This stars Sam Claflin, Paul Bettany, Toby Jones, and Asa Butterfield. And even though it's billed as a war movie, it really chronicles how war affects soldiers. It shows how it traumatizes them, it shows how it changes them personality-wise, it even shows how it changes them physically. And I think especially Sam Claflin in this film is a marvel. He just knocks it out of the park, but all of the performances are fantastic. I loved how deep this film went with how war can change soldiers. And I think it's a really important film that a lot of people haven't heard about, and I think a lot of people would actually enjoy this film. Next up is The Villainess. I freaking love this movie. This is a Korean film that is very heavy on martial arts and action sequences. It's very stylish, it's emotional, and it's just totally badass. It follows a woman named Suki, who is raised as a child to be an assassin, and one day she is arrested after she assassinates a group of people. But she's found by this underground corporation, and they basically train her in this school and send her out on missions. And it shows how she both is an assassin and how she's also a mother, and that is a really interesting wrinkle in this story. I love the villainess. If you're into that kind of film, I highly suggest you check it out because it's totally badass. Also, speaking of badass, is Blade of the Immortal. This is the 100th film from director Takashi Miike, and it is just balls to the walls bonker, but it's so good. If you love gory action sequences, if you love amazing fight scenes, if you love emotional stories, check out Blade of the Immortal. It is stylish, just like the villainess, but it's a completely different story. The story itself is a little, off the wall, but, that's to be expected with Takashi Miike. And I just freaking loved Blade of the Immortal. And the last film I want to mention is Shutter Island. I finally got around to watching this, and it was brilliant. I did guess what was going to happen way before the halfway point, but it was still a treat to watch. Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo, and Ben Kingsley are all great. And I love the special effects. I think Martin Scorsese did an amazing job directing this and really building up that suspense and tension, even though, again, I guessed what was going to happen before it happened. I love Shutter Island, and I would love to read the novel to see how it compares. Now, moving on to TV, the first show I want to talk about is a show that hasn't been getting a lot of attention to my knowledge, and that is Impulse. Impulse is a YouTube Red show, and it is a Jumper spinoff. By the way, Jumper is a movie about people who could teleport if you've never seen it. This is way better than Jumper, BT dubs. But Impulse follows a young woman named Henry, and this is not a spoiler, it happens in the first episode, but she is sexually assaulted, and this show chronicles how she deals with the sexual assault and the trauma that comes from that sexual assault, but it also shows how she has these seizures, and when she has these seizures, she teleports back to her bedroom. So they're trying to figure out why she's having these seizures, how she's teleporting, but it also chronicles how she's dealing with the very difficult aftermath of being sexually assaulted. The show handles that topic very well, but if you do get triggered by that, the show will trigger it. It's covered in basically every episode, but it's very well done. There are very high production values. All the actors and actresses are on top form in this, and I highly recommend you watch it. Also, I took a deep dive back into Doctor Who, and I've been so obsessed with it. I watch episodes every day, and I just freaking love Doctor Who, guys. I love it so much. My favorite Doctor is still the 10th Doctor. My favorite companion is still Rose Tyler. But I just love going back into that universe and, hearing Alonzi, Geronimo, bow ties are cool, and seeing the Adipose, the Ood, the Daleks, the Cybermen, just all these amazing enemies, and seeing how the companions and the Doctors bond. And I love the humor in the show, and it's just so good. And it's so interesting to see how the show has evolved since it came back in 2005, and rewatching it and seeing how the special effects are getting better, and how they've changed the title sequence up. It's just, I could gush on and on about Doctor Who, but I freaking love Doctor Who. And another show I want to mention is CB Strike. If you're into shows like Sherlock and Luther, I highly recommend you check this out. This is based off the Cormoran Strike novels by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling, and it follows the titular detective Cormoran Strike as he and his new assistant solve cases. I love Tom Burke as Cormoran Strike and Holiday Granger as his assistant Robin Alycat. And so far, the cases they've covered have been really intriguing. I don't know how it compares to the books because I haven't read the book series, but I do highly recommend CB Strike if you're into detective shows. And lastly, I want to mention a game which is technically a demo, but still, I'm including in the game category, but that is The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit is a demo for Life is Strange 2, but it's totally free. You can play it, try it out, but it follows this young boy named Chris and how he is trying to become his alter ego Captain Spirit, and you have to go around the house and gather up materials for his costume, but you see his backstory. And it's very emotional. It's really tough to stomach, especially considering the subject material this covers. But it also has an air of hope, and you just get to play this young boy as he's living out his dreams of being a superhero while living in a very dire situation. And just like the previous iterations in the Life is Strange franchise, this covers very tough topics. It has multiple choice options, and it has a lot of opportunities to interact with the environment and pick up story elements from, picking up maybe a newspaper or opening a box and seeing photos. It's very interactive in that matter, but it's a fantastic demo. I wish it was longer, but I'm excited to see Chris return in Life is Strange 2 when it debuts, and this is just how you make a demo. So those are my favorites for the month of June. Let me know what your favorites were in the comment box down below. Like the video if you liked it, and also make sure to share it because that's really important and it helps my channel grow. If you're not subscribed already but you like what you see and heard, hit the subscribe button, and even if you are subscribed, make sure to tap the notification bell so you'll always be alerted every time I upload a video. If you'd like to follow me on social media sites, those are all listed in the description box down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You're always my favorite. Peace and kisses. Bye!